if you come on camera, and you're welcome to. We are recording this and we're going to put it on our YouTube page. We have an SEC YouTube page for all these trainings going back a couple of years. And we'll give you the link to that before we finish tonight. And we'll try and get this one, either the morning one or this one on YouTube, probably by the end of the day tomorrow. Again, just in case if you're driving, drop off, that sort of thing. But again, my name is James Wright. Everyone calls me Jamie. I'm here with my very good friend and coworker,
Krista Connolly.
Krista Connolly.
Who's still looking for this Atlanta Braves photo.
She has.
I have it. I've gone.
It's on her phone.
There it is. There we are.
There it is. Go Braves.
Me and my niece and nephew.
That's a great picture. And we're here from North Carolina, so we're part of the SEC team, which represents North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, and a little snippet of Virginia. You're right. I think a little bit of Virginia as well. And this is our Caring Communications training. If it's your first time with us, we offer this every other month. Throughout the year. Sometimes we skip one in the summer, but we're here every other month. We were here in January doing this, and we plan to be back in May, toward the end of May, doing this. And it's always a little similar but different. And the theme of it, of this particular one, is called Navigating Change with Caring Communication.
Coming through people back.
What was that? Oh, sorry, we had a voice on the call, but we're going to be talking about a few specific things that are brand new for the Red Cross, including the A1C testing and the hand warmers, which are so new we don't even have a slide for them, and then also some kind of practical things related to having conversations with donors, meeting people as they come in, go out, body language, that sort of thing.
Good stuff.
Yeah. And did you want to review any housekeeping before?
Yeah. So we're utilizing the chat. If anybody has any questions or concerns or wanting to participate, just throw it in the chat or raise your hand. We'll call on you. Make sure to keep your phone, your mic muted. If you're on your cell phone doing that and you don't know how, I will go ahead and mute you for yourself for you. So just let me know if you're having difficulties doing that. And
by the way, same thing. If you can't see or hear us,
yes.
If there's a blip and we go out, let us know.
Yeah, let us know. And if you have issues with the video or the presentation, log out, log back in, and it typically resets.
All right, perfect.
All right, cool.
So again, slide one, Red Cross Caring Communication, and this is our theme, and building on the word visibility. We like to make caring visible by incorporating skills, initiatives, and behaviors serving internal and external customers at all levels in every interaction, creating a caring culture every day. So that's the function of it. It's sort of the day-to-day interactions that we have with donors and staff, and anyone else associated with a blood drive. And if we didn't already say, we are here. There's a blood drive going on right across the hall here. You can see in real time. This is the Greensboro Donor Center, North Carolina. And we do blood and platelets and plasma. And since I was here anyway, I donated earlier because they had shirts, so they had platelet shirts. So I got it. And I asked, "Do you have it? Do you have it in my size?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, sure. Sign me up." So I donated today while I was here. So I had a fresh donation. Okay.
So since it's spring, finally, I feel like it's been a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is the best part about the spring season, everybody? We've already talked about baseball. I always say, I'm not saying what I like, I say what I dislike. I just like the pollen.
That wasn't the question.
It wasn't the question. It wasn't the question, but I have to say it every time.
What's your favorite part about spring? Feel free to raise your hand or put it in the chat. Mine is the extra sunlight. I don't even realize how sad I get in the winter when the days are short. because I like to have sunlight on me. So, Sandra and I, yeah, warmth and longer days. I definitely like the longer days. I like that sunlight.
New birth, new beginnings, getting back in the
Get in
garden,
the garden.
blooming plants. We were
Yes.
talking about this earlier, how I need gardening tips.
Yeah, yeah. If you
My
have any
yard.
gardening tips, she's yeah. Krista's a new homeowner and she's looking to put in a garden. My wife does some gardening, so I stay out of that. I just carry the bags. But yeah, bags around the house. Flowers and trees blooming, blooming plants. Yeah, all good, all good things. Yeah. And nobody said pollen because pollen's not the right, pollen's the incorrect answer.
know,
That's the answer to a
but
different
that
question.
was just polluted.
It
with
has hit us this week, by the way.
my
Where we
God.
are. Everything is yellow. Everything is yellow. Okay. Oop, give you the mouse.
Excuse me. Okay, so we want to make sure we are incorporating our culture of caring communication skills when we are responding in our day-to-day discussions. We want to remember that when we are responding, we want to respond with a care-focused statement, a knowledge-focused statement, and then follow it up with a care-focused statement. This presentation will provide you with practice scenarios and resources that you can use to guide you as you manage conversations in tough talks by elaborating on a few steps that will make your caring visible for everyone to see.
And keep that in order. Yeah, that care, knowledge, care. We'll be referencing that several times, and we'll have a little activity that you can participate in if you want at the end, related to, hitting people with data and facts and answers, some of which are going to be no, we can't do that thing. But while still, showing caring and relatability. So the 4 steps, and after this slide, we're gonna take them each apart and talk about each one of them in detail. The 4 steps to caring made visible. Number 1, reflecting feelings. Watch and listen for what the other person is feeling, with an emphasis on the watch, what the person is feeling. Donors come to us from all walks of life, and they've had all kinds of days before they arrive at the drive. Some of them made a real tough effort to get there today. So please be aware of that when you're talking to people, both the verbal and nonverbal language, on our donors and staff when they come in. Watch and listen for what the other person is feeling. Number 2, you are always saying something. You meaning me and Krista and us. We are always saying something. I tend to talk with my hands.
Yeah, we have to move your coffee away.
Yeah, right. I tend to sort of be animated, and not everyone is. But it's things that I work on too. As far as you mentioned it earlier, like crossing your arms, and I think that's something that I do maybe that I shouldn't, and I don't mean anything by it. But sometimes I get a little pensive and I cross my arms when I'm talking to somebody. Or my children, 13 and 18, roll their eyes at me, and they're really good at it. And I act like I don't care, but it bugs me a little bit. I don't like those eye rolls. So number 2, be aware that you are always saying something with your body language, even if you're not speaking. What your eyes are doing and what your body doing is sending a message. Number 3, communicate with positive purpose. So we're going to talk about how to communicate, in a way that your actions show that they're in their best interest. Like I said, even if the answer is no. And we're going to come back to that over and over again. And finally, repeat that caring, the thank yous and the no thank yous. It's what they call a drumbeat message. Sometimes the answer is no, and we're going to use those skills to pronounce caring. Sometimes the answer is we can't take any walk-ins today, or thanks for making the effort, and I'm sorry, you weren't able to donate. Or I've even had, I'm sorry, the blood drive just ended, which is heartbreaking, but you're in a place where someone, sort of just got there right as it was, being cleaned up and leaving. So so we're going to talk about each one of those in detail. And with that in mind, let's grow together.
Ooh,
These are great. These are
nice.
great spring slides. I did.
Hey, so steps to caring made visible, reflecting feelings. Reflecting feelings begins with watching and listening for what the person is feeling. In order to grow this step, We will need to practice the use of respectfully check for understanding. You sound, you seem, you look. Don't judge. Don't say how you understand how someone feels. Those are not your feelings. And be sincere and respectful. Meet people where they're at and find common ground.
I mentioned two things on this morning. Our good friend Tamika Rush, who might be on the call, I can't see, but Tamika Rush, who's a member of our team, who some of you may know, uses this absolutely wonderful phrase when we're having discussions, which is, "What I hear you say is." So even before she replies, she acknowledges the question or what we're trying to say, which I think is always nice. You know, what I hear you saying is, she fills that in. And also, yeah, that I'm very guilty of not intentionally meaning anything by it, saying to someone, "Oh, I know exactly how you feel." Because that happened to me once. But the truth is, I don't know exactly how they feel because my experience with that and theirs may be completely different. May have a completely different outcome. I still think it's fine to find common ground and relate to people, but yeah, I realized doing this training that I need to do a better job of not assuming that I know how somebody feels. Because yeah, those are their feelings. They may feel completely different about it than I do.
So it's great to come back around and just say, like Tamikia, what I heard you say is.
Right,
So
right.
there's no misinterpreting.
Exactly. And yeah, gosh, and I revisited, and I've been married for like 22 years. And I'm like, gosh, how many times have I
Oh,
how many times have I dropped that line? I know exactly how you feel. I probably didn't. The second step, you're always saying something. So make sure that you watch for cues from your customer, kind of how they are, when they come in, and if they look agitated because they've been waiting, or you sense something's wrong. But make sure you're watching from cues, from the donors. Monitor your own nonverbals to ensure your verbal and nonverbal interactions match. So um, please don't say something that sounds genuinely caring and empathetic with like a big grin on your face, or a wink wink. Likewise, don't try and say something very upbeat and encouraging, with a frown or a scowl, or if you're my teenage kids, the eye roll, whatever. So yeah, monitor your own nonverbals. Trust in relationships are going to be damaged when our nonverbals say one thing and the verbal words don't match, because people will believe nonverbal indicators and remember. It's not in the slide, but I've heard this so many times. Will remember the nonverbals ahead of the verbals. So if you have a tense interaction with the person, um, what the research tells us is they're much more likely to remember how they felt and kind of how you were, your tone and your body language ahead of the actual words you used, which might have been correct. We could have given a very scripted, correct response that came across as sarcastic and uncaring. So yeah, and this, as they say, will cause doubt uh, in the Red Cross, because we are there as the face of the Red Cross at these events. So make sure that we're keeping our own nonverbals in check, that we look engaged and interested, in every donor that's being there, and also, of course, thanking, not just welcoming, but thanking the donors for being there.
So communicating with positive purpose. Communicating with positive purpose begins with communicating how your actions are in their best interest. In order to grow this step, we will need to acknowledge why what we do benefits them, how to make sure the customer knows what to expect, no surprises. I want to work with you, complete this for you. It makes people feel more in control, less unknowns, makes a calmer customer, and then relationships will strengthen with trust and understanding. So a lot of this is about credibility.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and just making sure that um, the customer knows exactly what the donor knows exactly what's going to happen when they walk through the door, whether it's their first time or their 100th time, and just securing them and making them know that you're there to help at all times.
Right. And we, like anything, the BDA role, you very much learn it and perfect it by doing it and by being there in the field. We send out a pretty healthy amount of, of training materials that I'm assuming everyone, including these, read, every word of. Cover to cover, but yeah, there's a lot of great videos and resources and things to read, and it can realistically seem very overwhelming when you give it all this information. Like, oh, I'm just checking in people at a blood drive or, helping with snacks. But the truth is there are a lot of little pieces and there are a lot of questions you can get asked. And I feel like it's in everyone's best interest, including mine and yours, if we feel confident enough to, have the knowledge to answer those questions. A lot of questions are not appropriate for us to answer, like medical questions and things. Can you check my medications for me? We always defer that to the collection staff, to the phlebotomist, the nurses charged.
Provide that reading material.
Right. Yeah, but we want to be able to help
assure them to
help them. Exactly, to get them the right telephone number or website or where to go or who to talk to. So yeah, absolutely. And then finally, the fourth step, repeat that caring, the thank you and the no thank you. So be sincere, always remain calm, keep to the drumbeat message. The drumbeat message are things like, welcome. Are you here to donate today? Did you do your rapid pass? Thanks for being here. Restrooms are right over there. And then, we'll see you in a few. Thank you for coming in today. Are you still feeling good? We'll see you next time. Appreciate you being here. Those drumbeat messages that you really almost can't say enough to donors while they're in there. Number 2 under that, switch up your caring layers while holding firm to the knowledge layer content. So that care, knowledge, care. So if you're asked questions, make sure that you act interested in the question. Give the answer if you can, or direct them to the right resource. Thank them for asking. I like to say, excellent question. If any of you ask a question in the chat, I'm going to say, excellent question. Yeah, thank you for asking.
Provide the information and then say, thank you.
Thank you.
For your question.
Exactly.
I hope
I
assisted you.
Exactly. Yeah. So you say it better than I do. Don't waver from the bottom line. This may take many times for the receiver hears no. Sometimes the answer is no. I hate telling people no. I like being a yes person. I absolutely hate having to tell people no. But sometimes we just can't take any walk-ins. Yeah. Sometimes we're just don't have any t-shirts in a 2XL. I am so sorry. We had a huge turnout. We're out of that size. Maybe someone in your house might like to have a large, a medium. Sometimes you can redirect it in a positive way. I'm so sorry about that. But again, they do want to reiterate, we can't say yes to everything, particularly when it comes to FDA regulations and things like that. So sometimes the answer is no, but please do everything you can to be sincere and to be caring with your nose. Very important to remain calm and ensure nonverbal indicators do not show increased tension or displeasure. I've been fortunate in that all this time I've had very, very few. I can think of 2 or maybe 3, where I would say it was like a tense, conversation, not a raised voice conversation, but a tense conversation with a donor. Because they were upset because they, came at the wrong time or that they, had a longer wait. It doesn't happen a lot, at least to me. I've been very fortunate in most of the donors that I've worked with. Most of the donors I think we all work with, they're all pretty great people. I mean, they're coming in here, given the one thing that can't be taken can only be given. They're given their blood to us. So most people tend to be very, very agreeable, but in case it does ever, start to go sour, please make sure that we are always remaining calm and keeping everything on the level. And finally, don't judge, remain open-minded. Like we said earlier, I have no idea what that donor went through. that day or that week to arrive at that, at that place. So all the actions and challenges they may have faced to get to that check-in station or, or to that donor bed. Yeah, please don't assume that we know. It could have been very challenging. I can only imagine. I'm under the impression from doing some of these, and we live in a pretty or I guess urban area, lots of development and stuff here in the city. But I've done these in very rural areas where I was under the impression that people drove like a county away, just to donate blood. So yeah, always want to be very, very mindful of that.
So now that we've talked about care, knowledge, care, we're going to switch some gears a little bit to talk about what is changing here at the American Red Cross and how it will affect you. Change is the only constant in life. So in talking about communications, we want to be able to navigate through change as smooth as possible. We want to focus on how our culture of care and communication skills can help. Donors will interact with collections and other staff and will have questions or concerns, how well those are answered, and it is what's important. Excuse me, I'm having issues today speaking. Golly, it's because it's almost 6 o'clock.
It is. Good evening. Yeah, you haven't had dinner. Haven't had dinner yet. Our friend and mentor, April Vanderhorst, was on the morning call. I don't think she's on this one, but she, at this point, I'm going to reuse it if that's okay. She dropped a quote in the chat at this point in the morning one. And she wrote, there's a quote that says, "Your actions speak so loudly that I can't hear what you're saying." I don't know
So
that.
you mic dropped your phone.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Your actions speak so loudly I can't hear what you're saying. That she shared, and I was like, oh wow, yeah, that's the whole thing in a nutshell. So everybody write that down. Your actions speak so loud I can't hear what you're saying. But yeah, but like Chris said, what a great animated slide. I also want to give credit to our friends, one of our colleagues on the West Coast, who helps with these presentations, did this slide deck, and it's beautiful. But in adapting to meet the changing needs of the people we serve, we certainly don't want to scare anybody. None of this is like reinventing the wheel, but there's a few things that have launched in 2025 that we're going to talk about today. One, the A1C testing, we're going to talk about in detail, and also the hot hands, which is so new. There's no slide. It just started, I believe, this week. We talked to people in North Carolina and Georgia this morning who said they had been to drives. When I was across there today, they had the hot hands. So we'll talk about that, and also you probably already seen this has been around for a couple months. We got rid of the finger prick, so they're doing a finger sleeve and testing for hemoglobin iron levels without the puncture on the finger, which honestly I think is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I've done it twice now, and I don't miss that finger stick and the extra Band-Aid. So, but yeah, all that is to let you know. But please don't be concerned that there's major earth-shattering changes. There's several changes that are now in effect in 2025, but we think they're all going to be positive. We think they're going to be helpful to donors and volunteers. So for A1C testing or diabetes testing, we will be performing those tests 3 months. So March, which we have a couple more days left in March, then August, and then November. So testing is intended to give information about the donor's health that may improve early detection and raise awareness for many donors. We're not trying to diagnose anybody, or the Red Cross isn't. It's just an early indication. Right. And this will be an automatic thing, and we'll talk about it more in detail in the next slide. But this is an automatic thing. It started March 1st. It's going on right now. And like she said, it'll be 3 months out of this year. If it's well received, and we think it will be, and it seems to have been so far. But if it's well received, it could end up being something that happens more often. It could be something that ends up going permanent, that the A1C test just becomes a regular test of that blood sample when it's processed. Yeah, and Krista, thank you. Dropped in the chat. For those of our donors that use the app, this is what it looks like. It takes a little while to get back to the app, but in the recording of the donation under the donor app or on the website that folks use, this will be private just for the donor, but it'll show them what their hemoglobin levels were, what their blood pressure was, and what their A1C level is, if they would like to know. You done with that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what we do know. So let's talk about what we do know, what we don't know. This is new. So we've been doing this. The Red Cross has been doing this for 27 days now. And again, my impression is that it's going well, but it's a great big USA. So it may be that there's complications that arise. But what we do know is donors will only be tested once in a testing month. So whether you're doing whole blood or plasma or what have you, just the one time, the one test. The Red Cross is not attempting to diagnose diabetes. So A1C levels are a good indicator of the possibility of developing type 1 or type 2 diabetes. But that's not the business that we're in. This is kind of like a courtesy, an extra health check, information that donors may want to know to share with their physician. Consent is not required for testing, so there are no extra questions on the Rapid Pass related to this. There's nothing extra to sign. This is an automatic thing that's being done for all blood samples collected by the Red Cross, all blood donations collected in the month of March. But donors do not have the option to opt out. So this is an all or nothing, and that's the piece we're going to spend a couple extra seconds on here, and where we fear that there could be some pushback. I'm unaware of any, but there could be. There could be folks that for whatever reason, personal or professional reasons, don't want their blood tested for A1C levels. And we do need to be prepared to let people know that it's not an opt-out. So 3 months out of this year, if somebody came in today and said they heard about this, they do not want their blood tested for A1C, we would just be understanding and say, well, would you like to come back next week? Because starting on Tuesday, it's not. This particular program is related to this month, and then it's going to come back 4 months from now. Donors wishing to not be tested will be advised to schedule during a non-testing month. So if you work at a donor center, if you volunteer at a donor center, and it's a 5-day-a-week, 6-day-a-week, 7-day-a-week setup, feel free to help them schedule an appointment for April 1st, April 2nd, April 3rd, if they would rather not. If you are at if you're at a drive that runs every 56 days or every the first of every month or something like that at a mobile drive site, just see if you can get the date for the next one and advise them to sign back up. Like I said, haven't heard of that happening, at least in our area, but it's certainly a possibility and one we want to be prepared for.
Do we want to talk about hot hands now?
Oh yeah. Sorry, thank you. Let's talk about hot hands. So in addition to the A1C test, which is going to be 3 months this year, including this one, which is an automatic thing, we also have starting just in the past week, effective immediately, we were told. They have hot hands, and Krista has some brand new information. So new, it's not even on the slide deck about the hot hands.
So it is effective immediately. It is recommended that hot hands be available at donor check-in for donors who may need to warm their hands. The hand warmers or hot hands should be provided to donors at check-in to help warm their hands as needed upon arrival, or may continue to use the hand warmers for self-check-in until the hemoglobin test is complete. So a little bit more information. Hand warmers take 15 to 30 minutes to fully heat up and require air to stay active. Open the hand warmers during the drive setup to ensure that they are ready for use when the first donor arrives. To ensure effectiveness, place the hand warmers in a plastic baggie or hand grip cover, which will be available for you while they're in use. However, do not fully close the baggie. Leave it slightly open to allow airflow. And then after testing, once the hemoglobin test is completed, remove the hand warmers from the baggie to allow them to continue heating throughout the day and return them to check-in for the next donor. If a hand warmer is needed in a health history booth, it can be retrieved from the check-in station. Let me see.
I'm going to see if I can get a picture in case you're unfamiliar. There's a picture.
Hands.
There's a picture. These are little tiny bean bags. They are very popular with people who do things like camping and outdoor sports. Someone brought up on the morning call they used to use them for skiing. I'm not a skier, but they would put them in their gloves for skiing. But they're these little tiny, fit in the palm of your hands, bean bag things that you can crush and activate, and it creates heat. It creates a chemical heat. That I think they're all different, but lasts 15 minutes, 30 minutes, what have you. At this particular location, which is the first time I've seen them up close, they had them. The staff were administering, so they had a box of the hot hands in all of the health history spaces. So the little health history room is where they were kept, and the staff were handling them. I am under the impression, however, that some locations. I hope I'm not making. I want to say Winston. Was it Winston or somebody said, or Cary?
Cary, North Carolina.
Yeah, that the volunteers had them up front and were offering them, for donors to get their hands warmed up before they went back.
I also want to say why this matters. Why are we doing this? Warming the hands before or since hemoglobin measurements help ensure that blood flows to the fingers is adequate, leading to a more accurate hemoglobin reading. Measurements may be negatively impacted by poor circulation. This is because cold fingers have constricted blood vessels, which can lead to reduced blood flow to the fingers, resulting in a less representative sample of HGB measurements or hemoglobin measurements.
There it is. I finally found a picture. It's coming to you. There it is. Hot hands. They're itty bitty. Yeah. And they're like this big.
Yeah.
But yeah, so don't be alarmed if you walk into a blood drive tomorrow or this weekend or next week or next month, and they ask you to kind of prep some hot hands. I'm also under the impression that they're disposable one-time use, I think.
I'm sure about that one, but we can find out the answer for you.
Yeah. We're again brand new. We're learning too.
Change is inevitable,
but we think it'll be a positive one, and this will help people get through health history quicker if they have good circulation and good.
I will never be able.
Yeah, no, she does. She has. I didn't know till today.
It scared him.
We usually communicate remote, but yeah, she has really, really cold hands.
Oh, great. Use them one-time use. Thank you so much.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yes, thank you. So they are one-time use, which was my thought, because I'm figuring if you're holding it in the palm of your hand, warming it up, it's like a glove. It's like a personal item. So yeah, so that's hot hands. Change can be difficult. We think both of these will be positive. I used twice this week in Tennessee. Thank you, Sandria. I hope I'm saying it right, Sandria. But change is difficult. Donors will need our communication. So some people just get used to things and say, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And it's helpful to have a little bit of, information. Well, it's, some people it increases their comfort and helps their blood flow, and then they can get through the checks out quicker. So yeah, so the hot hands should be. They tell us they will be available everywhere very soon, but it was just implemented a few days ago.
All right, so we're going to transition into some scenarios. Use care and communication focused statements to grow your skills and navigate change. So remember, care, knowledge, care. I threw in the chat some a great graphic about care, knowledge, care, if you want to utilize that while we're going over the scenarios. But it's, do we start down here or we start up there? I think you start in
You
there.
start at the bottom. Yeah. You do start at the bottom.
It's
You're
late.
right.
It's late.
It's
My-
late. It's a
my
beautiful
bedtime.
slide though.
Yeah. Reflecting feelings, you're always saying something, communicating with positive purpose, repeat caring, thank you, no thank you.
Right. So all those steps kind of in a sequence. So what we're going to do, and no one's forced to participate, but at this point, if you have a suggestion that you would like to put in the chat or raise your hand, your virtual hand, and we can pull you off mute, to how you would, in your role as a Red Cross volunteer, how you would possibly answer these questions or these scenarios. The first one being, someone came in and they saw the advertisement about the A1C testing and they just want to know why. Why is the Red Cross suddenly testing for A1C levels? Why now? And if you don't have an answer to that, we're going to give you one because we have the official answer. But if anybody would like to share what they would say based on what we know and what we don't know, why is the Red Cross doing this now? And the answer is, these are fun slides. The care statement would be, I'm glad you asked that question. I like to say, excellent question. Excellent question. Kind of a screening for the individual. Yeah, kind of an extra screening there if you want it. Knowledge. We want to provide donors, we, the Red Cross, want to provide donors with important health information and encourage them to seek medical care if their A1C levels are elevated. Again, no one has to do anything with this information. They don't even have to look at it if they don't want, but it's going to be there for them, and it's just kind of an extra health community related courtesy that we're gonna provide, kind of a value add there. And then finally, assuming that answers the question, excellent question. Do you have any others? Is there anything else I can answer for you about the Red Cross A1C testing? And they say yes, there is, as a matter of fact. My second question is, I donated last week. Why can't I see my blood test results in the donor app yet? They're not there. Another excellent question. And I may not have highlighted this enough, but the short answer is it could take up to 14 days. All of our products have shelf lives. So we heard blood and platelets and plasma all over the US. They all have a shelf life. So they all have to get from that site to a processing lab and then to a hospital, and we're all spread out. So depending on where you donate, if you donated in a building with a processing lab like in Durham, those results are probably going to come back really, really quick. But if you donated, at a community church, in a rural area, and that had to get, that sample had to be driven, a few hours, to a location, it may take a couple extra days. So the official answer, again, we always start with excellent question. I'm glad you asked. It can take up to 14 days. So please wait up to 14 days for that to pop. Usually quicker than that. And if any of you on the call are donors, you will frequently within 7, 9, 10 days after get that email like, thank you for donating. Your blood went to this place in South Carolina, or your platelets went to this place. They're really good about those follow-ups when they're in there. But it could take up to 14 days. If you find out it's already been 14, 15 days, 3 weeks, I didn't get my results, or I didn't get my digital gift card, or whatever it is, they can always call donor support. The donor support number, which we just put into the chat, is on the slide, 866-236-3276. I wish that in my role, checking in and working with donors at the Red Cross, I wish that I could help them more and make that call for them. But I can't, because they're not going to give me that information. So irregardless if we're registered volunteers or staff members, this is private protected information. So we can give donors the resources. We can't, even if we wanted to, if we call that number, they're not going to give us They're not going to give us any information about a donor. But if a donor needs help with that or with anything, related to that, they can go through some security questions and get one-on-one support at 866-236-3276. And I didn't mention this earlier, but if you there's also a number. Hold on, I'm going to pull it up. Sorry. There's also a number if someone wants to change their communication preferences, how they are contacted. Some people, the Red Cross is really good about texts and emails, cell phone calls, calling you at the house and all that to make sure.
The
But
landline.
exactly, but there is a number that they can call. Yeah, sorry, it's just 1-800 Red Cross.
Easy to know.
Yeah, the 1-800 Red Cross, they can call and get their communication preferences changed. So yeah, easy to remember as well, 1-800 Red Cross. Because I've had that come up before, and I wish that we could help with that. But if a donor wants to be taken off the national call list or said, start calling my cell phone instead of my house phone for the reminder messages, I wish we could do that, but that again, we don't handle their phone numbers and things, so that can go through 1-800 Red Cross. So those two numbers, two great resources for you, if you want to jot them down or just screenshot the screen. And then finally, a donor is upset because they cannot opt out of A1C testing. And this is the one I went too quick and already clicked the answer, but this is the one that we're preparing for. We hope it doesn't happen, but if someone does get upset, I don't want my blood tested. I don't, for whatever reason, don't want to know this information, don't want to have it tested in that way. I want to opt out. We cannot opt out. The care statement, again, I really appreciate, you coming in. This actually is, I appreciate how passionate you are. I don't think that sounds like me. I probably wouldn't say that, but I would get across the same thing. Thank you so much for making the effort and coming in here and supporting us. We really appreciate it. And I'm so sorry that you did not know about this, before you came in. We want to provide you with a positive experience. Could we take a look? Could we get online together? Could we look at another blood drive maybe next week, April 1st, 2nd, 3rd? That would work for you. We can help you move your appointment to there, and that way you won't have to worry about the opt out, and you won't have to worry about the A1C testing if that's what you prefer for whatever reason, whatever their reason is. It shouldn't even matter to us what their reason is, but if they have a reason that they don't want it tested, we want to be prepared to gently and nicely direct them to another one. Because again, as of 2025, just 3 months out of the year. I value your enthusiasm. Let's work together to make this a great day. Have a great day. Thanks for coming in. Have a great day.
You startled me.
Say it and mean it. Have a great day. Say it and mean it. So yeah, so those are some of those statements. And with that in mind, at exactly the 45-minute mark.
Thank you.
Thank you for caring. That's the end of our presentation. We are not going to jump off, but if you have stayed with us and gotten everything, you are absolutely welcome to log off. If you're a volunteer with us, please be sure to record 1 full hour of training on your volunteer connection account, which will cover you for the logging in and the getting ready and the 45-minute presentation. But please be sure to do that. If you're unsure how to do that or you can't get that to work, please reach out to your rep. Thank you, your volunteer engagement rep. It might be me. It might be Krista. It might be Lori Copeland. It might be, give me some other names. Andrea Bed. It might be Rubette Maldonado. But whoever your engagement rep is in the area, feel free to reach out to them, and they can always help you get that done. But she and I are going to hang out for a few minutes. If anyone has any questions that they'd like to ask about this or anything else. Otherwise, thank you all for being here. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your support to the American Red Cross. We could not do it without you. And we just appreciate y'all being here. Have a great night.
Go have some dinner.
Go have some dinner.
Go
It's different
relax.
time zones though. It might
That's
only be,
right.
it might only be like,
6:17
yeah,
here.
it's 6:17. Yeah, it is.
It's always dinner time for me.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate y'all. And I'm gonna stop recording.